Hey YouTube, welcome to another Escape from Tarkov video. Today's video is a guide on how to get a constant supply of high level loadouts, including guns, ammo, level 4 and 5 armor and rigs, without buying them. I've been running this regularly over the last couple of weeks as and when I need gear, as it's a fun alternative to your standard loot runs. It's common knowledge that Raiders gear is very good if you can farm it, but up until recently, unless you pay to go into labs, it has been an inconsistent looting option. The last couple of weeks, however, have seen Reserve Raider respawn rates increase from as low as 15% to over 50%, opening up a huge farming opportunity. I know the thought of Raiders and Reserve might feel daunting to some players, but in this guide I'll walk you through everything you need to know to make this a successful farming option. We'll cover loadout recommendations, Reserve map overview, pathing options, Raider details, spawns and behaviours, and finally a walkthrough tutorial. Our recommendations for loadout is to run a cheap level 4 armoured rig with a low recoil SMG, something like an MAC plate carrier or a 6B 3TM with an MP5 or UMP. We will be looking to dump these if we have a successful raid to maximise the loot we get out with, so we'll look to keep our loadouts cheap and very likely to get back from insurance. We do want to take a 30 plus slot backpack, so a camelback tri-zip will be the cheapest option here. Lastly, this is optional, but it's recommended that we use a night vision headset, as to minimise the risk of running into players we want to run this at night. These are not specifically needed to navigate the bunker system or kill the raiders, as there is enough light underground, but we could spawn away from the bunker, so this will help us reach it safely. Any of the night vision options are fine, and you could even dump them when you reach the bunker to insurance fraud them to minimise the risk. Here's an overview of the reserve map with all the PMC spawn locations marked. As you will see, they are quite spread out, so I always recommend using the dome as a guide to where you have spawned. The dome, which is on the Queen building on Reserve, is the same one that you see on Shoreline as in the far south of Reserve. Therefore, if it's on your right, then you're on the west side of the map. If it's on your left, you're on the east side of the map. Although Raiders have various spawn locations on Reserve, we are specifically targeting the ones that spawn in the bunker system for this guide. There are 3 reasons for this. Number 1, there is now a very high chance of them spawning there. Number 2, they are easier and more predictable to kill there. Number 3, we will utilise the underground extract, which is very close for a quick exit. The bunker system itself is on the east side of the map, directly under the helicopter and between the 5 main buildings. If we expand underground to the bunker system map, we will see that we can access it from any of the 5 buildings. Your aim is to reach any of the buildings, taking the stairs down to their basement level, and entering the bunker system. As you get to know the bunker system better, you might prefer to enter from a particular building. I find that the White Bishop is the best entry point because it gives a really good angle on the raiders that spawn at the start of the raid. The King building is my least recommended, although it is right next to the White Bishop, because its entrance is slightly raised, it gives a very awkward viewing angle at which to approach from. Raiders will usually spawn in a pack of 3 or 4 and have a 35% chance to spawn at the start of the raid. These are the most common areas to find them when you enter if they have spawned. They then also have an additional 50% chance to spawn when we hit the underground power lever. When we do, these are the most common spawn areas. Here's a quick breakdown of the Raiders' health pool and just a few examples of high-end gear that they can spawn with. As you will see, they have nearly twice the health pool than a regular scav. However, their head health is only 40, so we'll be aiming to take them out with headshots. Importantly, they do not have face shields, though this will be a consistent one-shot with any ammo in the game. Let's jump to a walkthrough to show you how the Raiders behave and how we want to approach them to minimise the risks. Here we are entering from the preferred White Bishop entrance. We know it's the White Bishop because it's the only entrance with water at the bunker entrance door. Usually the Raiders will spawn in front of us here if they have spawned, but always check the left here for players. As we approach the corner, I use the lean peak to see and take out the closest raider. Since the addition of inertia, I'm trying to improve the use of the E&Q lean peak and also the Alt E&Q sidestep peak. It's important to take it slow until we find where the raiders are, as once we engage they will usually try and rush you. When they do, it's important to fall right back. In this case, back to the water is far enough to disengage them. We're basically trying to isolate them and use the peaks to locate and kill them. Ideally, we don't want to be trading shots with raiders as they are deadly. By falling back each time they get hostile, we can better control the engagement. We've cleared the 3 raiders I thought I heard, but used a grenade here to check there are no others in the more open middle section. I'll go ahead and loot these, as if the loot is really good, we do have the option of hitting the D2 extract power and just leaving at this point. Of course, if it's quiet, or if the loot on these guys wasn't great, then I'll take on the raiders that will hopefully spawn when I hit the power switch. Once looted, we can head into the main office area to hit the power. From this side, we'll go through the offices rather than move across the main open area. Head into the offices through the door on our left before taking the door on the right. Continue through where we will need to break the glass to get through. You can check for intel on the office desk here before heading through the door to the power room. Check these racks for military loot before hitting the power switch. This will now turn on even more lights in the bunker system, so again you could ditch your night vision here if you still have them. I'm listening here, as if raiders spawn in the halls around the back near Black Bishop, you will normally hear them immediately start walking around. If you hear nothing, then they've either not spawned, or they could be in the main area or back where we originally started over by the water at White Bishop. First we check the middle area. I can't see or hear any, so if they have spawned, they'll be right back where we started. Usually I'll take a left and loop right back past Black Bishop, back to the water at White Bishop where we started. However, I thought they had not spawned, so headed to the White Pawn side where the D2 extract is. Be careful of players here, as there's 2 entrances to the bunker system on this side. This here is the corner where the stairs are that head down to the D2 extract. But before I leave, I just want to double check they've not spawned. It turns out they have, so again I'll look to peek the first raider to get the kill. I immediately listen for them to rush, but also hear movement from the right which might be a player, so I fall back to the stairway. I can hear the raiders moving up, but also the footsteps on the right are pushing faster. It turns out this is a standard scav which we'll need to take out. This stairwell is actually not a great place to engage, as the angles are awkward. I opened the door here just in case they pushed down the stairs, but it sounds like they've continued back down the corridor where we came from, in front of White Pawn. We take the corridor side rather than the main centre approach here, as it's safer and we can control the angles better. We find one of the raiders here, but we know there could be one or two left, so we're still always listening. We do find another at the bottom, and it's important to remember to aim for the face even if surprised like this. We'll have a hard time aiming for the thorax with an SMG if they have decent armour, so it's an important habit to get into. I can't hear any other movement and we are getting pretty heavy, so we'll head back down to loot the first rogue before heading to extract. I'll skip past the unpacking of ammo etc. so I can greed out on the loot. We can then take the stairwell back down that leads to the extract. I'll let this play through so you can see the route, as I know a lot of players still get confused by the bunker system. Do always be careful of campers down here, and you will find loot like water filters along here. I take a mule stim, but you don't really need to as we're so close to extract. Just a quick thank you as always for your continued support with likes and comments. The channel has grown 500% in the last 2 months because of your support and it's much appreciated. I usually throw a grenade here to try and get movement on the right if someone is camping before heading through the door on the left. You can of course always loot the room in front here if you want to and it's quiet. Always check these trolleys for military spawns before heading down. Check this desk for high tier spawns. Also, this desk above the bag has an intel spawn, and the floor to our left has a military tech spawn. We can then head through and hit the switch to start the doors opening. It takes a few seconds for it to open before you can pass through to extract. As well as the loot, raiders, especially headshots, give great XP. You can of course do this during daytime, but I find it much quieter at night. As a tip, if you're still getting a lot of PMC action in your region, try running it at the quietest part of the day. Also, a trick is to look at the world map to see what regions are asleep and switch your servers to one of those regions. Oh, and if you want a simple route for grabbing some rogue loot on Lighthouse, then this guide will help.